They told you you're not good enough, that you're not wanted, that you're not worthy. And in that moment, your soul trembled. You felt it like a punch to the chest when you expected a handshake. Rejection doesn't just sting, it haunts. But listen carefully, that pain you feel, that's the spark. That's the beginning of something far greater than acceptance. Because rejection is not the end of your story. It's the force that sharpens you, hardens you, and prepares you for war. This world is not designed to hand you anything. It's built to break you, test you, reject you again and again until you either fold or rise. So what if they said no? So what if they laughed, walked away, or ignored your worth? That's their loss, their blindness. Not your burden. Use it. Fuel your obsession. Let it drive you in silence while they sleep. Rejection is proof that you're in the game. It's the scar you earn before the trophy. Stop crying. Stop begging. Accept it. Because when you finally win, and you will, you'll thank the rejection for turning you into something untouchable. Accept it because you're not here to be accepted. You're here to dominate. Rejection is not a wall. It's a weapon. Use it to fight harder. You see, most people look at rejection like it's some permanent barrier, a door slammed shut in their face, a final verdict. They get told no once and suddenly it's over. They quit, cry, complain, or worse, they start to believe it. They think, maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe I'm not good enough. That's the biggest lie you can ever feed your soul. Rejection isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's not a sign to stop. It's a challenge to prove you're serious. And if you're serious, you won't treat rejection like it's an obstacle. You'll treat it like a reason to go harder, stronger, deeper into your mission. The truth is, every powerful person you've ever admired was rejected again and again. The only difference between them and the person still sitting on the couch crying about it is this. They didn't take rejection personally. They took it like fuel. They didn't crumble under the weight of it. They sharpened their edge with it. Rejection became the very thing that forged their strength. And you need to do the same, because rejection isn't weakness. It's not an insult. It's pressure. And pressure builds champions. If someone turns you down, underestimates you, or says you can't, good. That's a gift. That's life giving you an opportunity to grow teeth. You can either stand there and let it break your spirit, or you can bare those teeth and bite back. You can build yourself in silence. You can outwork everyone who ever doubted you. You can evolve so brutally that one day they have to apologize to your success because they'll never get a second chance at your energy again. But too many people fold. They hear a no and stop trying, and they justify it. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. No. That's weakness talking. That's you avoiding the fight. That's the soft part of you clinging to comfort. If you wanted it badly enough, rejection wouldn't stop you. It would awaken you. Rejection would become your reason, not your excuse. The stronger you get, the more you'll realize that rejection is a signal. It's telling you where the weak points are, where to improve, where to aim next. It's feedback from reality. But most people are too emotional to see it that way. They personalize it. They attach their worth to the opinion of someone who barely even knows them. And in doing that, they hand over all their power. Listen, if someone says you're not ready, prove them wrong. If a door shuts, build a better one. If you're told you're not enough, work until enough bows to you. This is how warriors are built, not by acceptance, not by validation, but by adversity, by setbacks, by raw, unapologetic rejection. This is how legends are made. Not in applause, but in silence, in pain, in nights when you're alone, bleeding inside, but still getting up, still grinding, still moving forward like a machine with purpose. That kind of power comes from being told you're not it and turning that pain into purpose. You have to stop begging to be accepted and start demanding to be remembered. People reject what they don't understand, what they fear, or what they can't control. If you're being rejected, it might mean you're a threat. It might mean you're actually too bold, too different, too relentless for them to handle. Good. You were never made to fit in. You were made to rise beyond what fits. When you turn rejection into a weapon, you no longer wait for opportunities. You create them. You don't cry when you're left out. You build your own table. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve your voice. You become undeniable. And that is where true freedom lies. You want respect, win without them. You want recognition, outlast them. You want power, earn it in the shadows while they sleep, while they doubt you, while they forget your name, until the day your results make noise so loud they can't ignore you anymore. But that only happens if you shift your mindset. You have to train yourself to see rejection as part of the game, not a penalty, but a necessary trial. No great man or woman skipped rejection. They took it on the chin and kept moving. That's what separates the wolves from the sheep. The wolf doesn't whine when it's hungry. It hunts, it adapts, it survives, it dominates. Be the wolf. Rejection will happen. Expect it, invite it. It's a teacher in disguise. Every no you hear sharpens your hunger. Every setback builds your muscle. Every failure tests your spirit. The world isn't supposed to hand you anything. It's supposed to challenge you into becoming the kind of person who can take it. You don't get what you want in life. You get what you earn. And rejection is just life asking, how bad do you really want it? So next time you get rejected, smile. Let them laugh. Let them overlook you. Let them talk behind your back. Because while they're playing, you're preparing. While they're relaxing, you're training. While they're doubting you, you're building an empire brick by brick in silence. One day they'll look up and wonder how the hell you got there. And you'll know. You'll know it was all the rejection that shaped you, that gave you your edge, that forged your fire. Rejection is not a wall. It's not a dead end. It's not the world telling you to stop. It's the world testing your character, seeing if you have what it takes to keep going when no one claps for you, when no one believes in you, when everything in you wants to quit. If you can keep pushing when all you feel is pain and all you hear is no, that's when you become unstoppable. So don't fear rejection. Embrace it. Use it. Let it break your limits instead of your spirit. Let it be the very thing that makes you ruthless, disciplined, and undeniable. This world respects one thing, results, so go get them. Turn your pain into power. Turn your rejection into a weapon and swing it until every barrier is broken. Accepting rejection builds emotional strength and mental toughness, not just in theory, but in the raw, brutal reality of life. Rejection is one of the few experiences that hits the soul directly. It doesn't just tell you no. It makes you feel like you weren't enough. It shakes your confidence, tests your willpower, and strips away any illusions you had about how easy success would be. But what most people don't realize is this: buried deep inside that pain is power. If you can endure it without breaking, if you can absorb that sting and keep moving, you start building something far more valuable than approval. You start building the inner core that can't be shaken by anything or anyone. The world is not kind to the weak. That's the harsh truth. It doesn't slow down for your emotions, your expectations, or your comfort zone. Rejection is how life filters out the ones who say they want it from the ones who mean it. When you accept rejection, truly accept it, not as defeat, but as training, you begin to change on a level that no comfort or praise could ever touch. You learn to control your emotions rather than be ruled by them. You stop making excuses. You stop expecting fairness. You become mentally tougher because you realize that your value isn't based on who approves of you, but on what you do when no one believes in you. Every time you get rejected and keep going, your mind gets harder, not colder, harder, more focused, more bulletproof. Emotionally, you start separating temporary pain from long-term purpose. You stop folding every time something hurts. You stop avoiding discomfort and you begin to welcome it because you know that behind that moment of pain is growth. Behind that closed door is a better version of you being built in the dark. You realize that every hit you take is shaping your armor. Not to protect you from rejection, but to make sure it never controls you again. Most people don't last. They break the first time they hear no. They think failure is personal. They take rejection as an insult. They don't understand that the people who win are not the ones who got accepted the most. They're the ones who could take the most hits and still come back swinging. They're the ones who weren't afraid to be ignored, laughed at, or turned away. Because when you accept rejection, you rob it of its power. You stop being afraid of it. You stop avoiding opportunities because you fear hearing no. You become dangerous in the best way because there's nothing left to fear. And that's when life starts to bend in your direction. When you stop chasing acceptance and start chasing evolution, mental toughness is not built in applause. It's built in silence. In the lonely moments where you question yourself, when the world doesn't see your value, when you give your best and it still isn't enough, that's where toughness is born. That's where emotional resilience is carved out of pain. And every time you choose not to quit, every time you get back up after rejection tells you to stay down, you're building the mindset of a winner. Not a lucky winner, but a designed one. One who chose pain. One who chose to endure. One who understands that strength isn't handed to you, it's earned through scars. You've got to train yourself to stop interpreting rejection as something negative. Start looking at it like a mirror. What did it show you? Maybe you weren't ready yet. Maybe you needed to be sharper, more disciplined, more skilled. Rejection gives you clarity. It reveals the gaps in your preparation. And instead of whining or blaming others, use it. Be honest with yourself. Own it, accept the pain, but don't live in it. Study it, learn from it, and then get back to work 10 times harder, 10 times smarter. Emotionally, when you accept rejection, you build composure. You learn not to overreact. You learn patience. You learn the difference between your worth and someone else's opinion. You begin to trust your process, even when the results aren't immediate. You stop rushing your journey just to feel accepted. That kind of emotional control is rare. It gives you presence. It gives you poise under pressure. And in this world, people who can stay calm and focused in chaos, they lead, they win, they inspire. Rejection will never feel good. It's not supposed to, but it's supposed to teach you. It's supposed to toughen you. So many people waste years of their lives trying to avoid being rejected by staying quiet, by not taking risks, by lowering their standards, by playing small. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, why they feel empty. It's because they've been protecting themselves from the very thing that could have made them powerful. True confidence isn't built from being accepted. It's built from being rejected and not losing your self-belief. It's built from knowing that rejection can never take away your vision, your hunger, or your discipline. That kind of confidence can't be faked. It can't be stolen. It comes from pain. It comes from struggle. And it comes from accepting that nothing in this world owes you anything. You have to take it. You have to fight for it. And you have to be willing to hear 1,000 no's just to earn one yes. That changes your life. Every rejection is a rep in the gym of life. It strengthens your spirit, your grit, your resolve. And if you embrace it, if you stop fearing it and start using it, you'll become unstoppable. People will look at you and wonder how you're so composed, so unshaken, so focused while they're still chasing approval. But you'll know it's because you chose to accept rejection, not as a wound, but as a weapon. You took every blow and turned it into power. You built yourself while they waited to be chosen. And that's the secret. The ones who accept rejection, who keep moving without applause, who grow in the dark, those are the ones the world ends up admiring. Not because they were lucky, not because they were favored, but because they were forged. Built through the pain everyone else ran from. So if you're being rejected, don't flinch. Don't run. Stand tall, feel it, learn from it, and then rise with more power than you had before. Because emotional strength isn't avoiding pain, it's using it. Mental toughness isn't avoiding failure, it's growing through it. And the person who accepts rejection is the person who's already halfway to winning. The world respects results, not feelings. Get back to work. That truth stings because it's real, brutally real. The world doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care that you're tired, that you're overwhelmed, or that you feel like giving up. It doesn't slow down to match your emotions. Success doesn't pause for your bad days. Opportunity doesn't knock twice because you weren't ready the first time. The cold reality is this. You either produce or you don't. You either execute or you don't. You either win or you stay invisible. And it doesn't matter how emotional you get about it. Emotions don't create outcomes. Work does. We live in a society that glorifies feelings, promotes comfort, and sells the lie that if you just feel good enough, things will magically happen for you. That's not how life works. The ones at the top, the ones who build legacies, move markets, and make history, don't operate on emotion. They operate on discipline, on consistency, on action. While everyone else is sitting around waiting for motivation, they're already 10 steps ahead, making things happen. They don't wait to feel like it. They do it anyway, because they understand that the scoreboard doesn't care about your excuses. The world rewards output, not intention. You can cry, you can scream, you can feel broken, rejected, overlooked, but if you don't get back to work, nothing changes. You stay stuck. And the longer you stay stuck, the more bitterness you build toward a world that owes you absolutely nothing. Your feelings are valid. Yes, you're human. You're allowed to feel pain. But don't mistake emotional expression for progress. Processing your emotions is healthy, but worshiping them is dangerous, because the moment you let feelings dictate your actions, you've surrendered your power. You've let your temporary state of mind ruin your long-term potential. There are millions of people who feel like they deserve more respect, more attention, more success. But life doesn't respond to desire alone. It responds to evidence. And the only evidence that counts is what you do, how hard you train, how consistently you show up, how well you execute under pressure. You want to be respected? Deliver results. You want to be remembered? Stack wins. It's that simple. People may sympathize with your story, but they'll only follow your lead if you can produce. Emotion without execution is noise. And in this world, noise fades fast. Think about it. When was the last time someone gave you a reward just because you were emotional about something? They didn't, and they won't. You only get what you earn. You only get what you grind for. It doesn't matter how unfair it feels. Life's not fair. It's filtered. It filters out the ones who can't handle pressure. It separates the talkers from the doers, the emotional from the unstoppable, the dreamers from the disciplined. That filter, that's where growth happens. That's where your future is being built. Not in how you feel, but in how you perform regardless of how you feel. If you're tired, show up anyway. If you're hurt, adapt and keep moving. If you're disappointed, wipe the tears and keep building. Because nobody's going to hand you success just because you're sad. You've got to want it enough to work through the worst days. You've got to be willing to keep swinging when your arms are sore, to keep climbing when your legs are shaking, to keep showing up even when the world seems to have forgotten your name. That's where the real warriors are born, not in celebration, but in silence. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. You want to win? Get obsessed with doing the work. Get addicted to outworking your emotions. Most people wait to feel ready. Winners just get ready, whether they feel like it or not. They train when they're tired. They build when they're broken. They don't need a cheerleader. They are the engine because they understand that feelings are fleeting, but legacy is permanent. No one will remember how you felt. They'll remember what you did. They'll remember how you showed up when it mattered. They'll remember how you never backed down. That's how respect is earned, through consistent, undeniable output. You don't get to pause life every time you're emotional. The bills keep coming. The deadlines don't move. The competitors don't stop grinding. And while you're sitting in your feelings, someone else is making moves, building momentum, stacking wins. Then you look up a year later wondering why they're ahead. It's not because they didn't feel pain. It's because they worked through it. You've got to get that mindset. You've got to stop confusing discomfort with failure. Stop waiting for life to feel good before you get serious. The pain isn't a sign to quit. It's a signal to go harder. You will face rejection. You will fail. You will have days where you question everything. That's part of the journey. But the world will not adjust for your emotions. It will not give you a break. So don't expect it to. Instead, train your mind to fight back, or discipline yourself to do the work, especially when you don't feel like it. That's what separates the ones who make it from the ones who wish they did. The world is flooded with feelings. What it needs more of are producers, builders, leaders, people who can feel pain and still push forward like a machine. You don't have to be heartless, but you do have to be relentless. You don't have to ignore your emotions, but you do have to prioritize your mission. Because your dreams don't care if you're overwhelmed. Your goals don't care if you're discouraged. You can feel every emotion in the book, but once you're done, once you've let it out, you get back to work. That's how winning is done. With discipline over mood, with execution over emotion, with consistency over comfort. So let the world cry, let the weak complain, let the emotional ones sit around waiting for life to change. Not you. You don't have time to wallow. You've got goals. You've got a future to build. You've got a name to etch into history. And the only way to do that is to work every day, no matter how you feel. Because in the end, the world doesn't give a damn about what you felt. It only respects what you finished. So stop explaining yourself. Stop making excuses and start doing what needs to be done. Feel it, then kill it. Get back to work. It might not feel that way when you're in the middle of hearing rejection after rejection, but it's the truth. Every door that slams in your face, every unanswered message, every opportunity that slips away, every person who walks away or says you're not ready, those are not the end of your story. They're stepping stones. They're the necessary trials that prepare you for that one defining moment where everything shifts. The problem is most people don't last long enough to experience that shift. They hear no once or twice and think it's a sign to stop. They internalize the rejection. They think, maybe I'm not meant for this. But that mindset is what kills dreams. Because the yes that changes everything is almost always hidden behind a long line of no's that test your resilience, your hunger, and your patience. You have to understand something deeply. Every no is information. It's a checkpoint. It's an invitation to grow, not an order to quit. But society has conditioned us to see no as failure, as rejection of our worth, when in reality, it's just feedback. And when you build the mindset to treat rejection like feedback, your world changes. You stop feeling like a victim and start operating like a scientist. You experiment, adjust, improve, and move forward. You no longer fear the no. You start seeking it because you know every single one is bringing you closer to that moment where the right door opens and you walk through it not by chance, but because you earned it. People quit too soon. They quit when they're inches away from a breakthrough. They give up on the fifth try, not knowing the sixth was the one. Why? because they believe the no was permanent, but it's not. It's temporary. It's part of the filter. Life filters out the people who are only half interested. It weeds out the ones who want it as long as it's convenient. The no's are designed to push you, to see if you'll fold or fight. And if you're willing to take them, stack them, and keep coming back smarter, harder, and more focused, you'll find that one yes that changes the entire trajectory of your life. It could be one job offer, one investor, one opportunity, one phone call, one person who finally sees your value. That yes could open doors you didn't even know existed. But you'll never get there if you're not willing to collect the no's that come before it. And here's the reality. The bigger your dream, the more no's you're going to face. That's just the way it works. Because the higher the level you're aiming for, the more rejection you'll face from people who don't see the vision, don't understand your mission, or simply aren't aligned with your purpose. And that's okay. They're not supposed to see it. The ones who say no are just clearing the path for the one who eventually says yes. But that means you have to keep going. You have to stop tying your self-worth to approval. You have to stop waiting for external validation. You need to build an internal fire that burns through every rejection. You need to learn how to stay locked in even when the results aren't coming in. Because the truth is, rejection is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. It's the price you pay for pursuing something that matters. It's the toll at the gate of greatness. And only those who are willing to pay it in full get to pass through. Imagine if some of the world's greatest minds gave up after their first few no's. Imagine if they had taken it personally, packed up, and walked away. We wouldn't have the breakthroughs, the art, the innovation, the inspiration we have today. You think your heroes were never rejected? They were told no so many times it would make most people collapse. But they didn't. Because they understood the game. They understood that every no was training. Every no was strengthening them for the moment when the yes finally came. And they were ready to handle it. And that's what rejection does. It builds your capacity. It stretches your limits. It sharpens your skill set so that when the opportunity finally hits, you don't just show up, you dominate. But let's be clear, this only works if you keep moving. If you let the no crush your drive, you lose. If you sit there drowning in self-pity, blaming others, or convincing yourself the world is against you, you miss the point. The no is not an enemy. It's a coach. It's not there to destroy you. It's there to refine you. But you've got to be mature enough to take it without falling apart. You've got to be hungry enough to use it as fuel. You've got to be obsessed enough with your mission that no amount of rejection can stop your movement. Some of the most powerful moments in life come right after the most painful rejections. That breakup that shattered you, it created space for something better. That job you didn't get, it pushed you to start your own business. That opportunity you missed, it taught you to be sharper for the next one. You just can't see it in the moment. But looking back, you'll realize every no was a setup for the yes that mattered. And that's why you must keep pushing. Keep showing up, keep knocking on doors, because eventually one of them will open. And when it does, you'll realize that the pain, the struggle, the rejection, it was all worth it. The biggest trap is quitting too early. People let 5 rejections stop them. 10 rejections destroy them. But what if your yes is number 20 or number 50? Are you really going to let the opinions of people who couldn't see your vision stop you from living it? Are you going to let temporary discomfort rob you of permanent success? That's the question you've got to ask yourself every time you feel like giving up. And if your answer is no, then prove it. Stand up. Keep grinding. Keep improving. Keep showing up. Because that yes is coming. And when it does, it won't just validate your dream. It'll validate every ounce of pain you went through to get there. So embrace the no's, collect them, learn from them, let them make you sharper, tougher, more relentless. Let them build your character and solidify your commitment. Because one day you'll hear a yes so powerful, it'll silence every no that came before it. One door will open and your whole life will change. Not because you were lucky, but because you refused to quit. Because you kept moving when others stopped. Because you saw rejection not as the end, but as the bridge to the beginning. And that's the truth. Every no is not a stop sign. It's a step. One step closer to the yes that changes everything. This world has taught you to crave approval. From a young age, you've been conditioned to chase praise, likes, followers, applause, compliments. You've been taught that your value depends on how many people agree with you, celebrate you, or recognize your potential. But let me tell you the truth that cuts through all that noise. Validation is a trap. It's an addiction that weakens your core. Because the moment your motivation depends on being seen, on being liked, on being clapped for, you've already given your power away. You become a puppet, dancing for attention, constantly adjusting your path just to please people who don't even matter. Validation is fleeting. One moment people love you, the next they don't. One moment they cheer for you, the next they're gone. You can't build greatness on something that fragile. You can't chase your dreams waiting for someone else to tell you it's okay to go. You don't need their permission. You don't need their approval. What you need is discipline. The ability to show up day after day, whether people notice or not. You need drive, that internal fire that doesn't die out just because no one's watching. And you need execution, because at the end of the day, dreams without action are just fantasies. Discipline is what separates the talkers from the doers. Anyone can be inspired for a moment. Anyone can post about their goals, talk big in front of a crowd, make promises when it's easy. But only the discipline keep showing up when it's hard. Only the discipline keep working when the excitement is gone. That's what wins. Consistency, repetition, relentless commitment to the process even when there's no visible reward. When everyone else is resting, complaining, distracted by comfort and clout, the disciplined are quietly building empires behind closed doors. Drive is that hunger you can't fake. It's not loud. It's not flashy. Or it doesn't need an audience. Drive is what wakes you up early and keeps you up late. It's what pushes you through exhaustion, rejection, and failure. It's what keeps you locked in when everything around you is falling apart. You can't borrow it. You can't pretend to have it. You either want it so bad you're willing to suffer for it, or you don't want it at all. People with real drive don't care about being seen. They care about becoming unbreakable. They don't need external motivation because they've made the decision, I'm going to win, period, with or without support. And execution, that's where everything comes together. Because it doesn't matter how much potential you have, how motivated you feel, or how big your dreams are. If you don't act, it means nothing. The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards outcomes. Everyone has ideas. Everyone has goals. But very few people actually do what it takes to bring them to life. Execution is what makes the difference. It's showing up, shutting your mouth, putting your head down, and doing the work. No excuses, no distractions, just results. You don't rise by talking about how hard you work. You rise by showing what you've built while others were busy seeking validation. And let's be real. Most people will only support you after you win, not because they believed in you, but because they couldn't ignore you anymore. So if you're sitting around waiting for validation to get started, you've already lost. Start now, move now, build now. Not for applause, not for followers, for you, for your mission, because you owe it to yourself to see what happens if you stop begging for approval and start demanding excellence from within. You have to get brutally honest with yourself. How much of what you're doing right now is about seeking validation? Are you working towards your goals, or are you working to impress people? Are you choosing your path, or are you letting opinions shape it for you? Because here's the hard truth. The people whose validation you crave will not save you. They won't show up for you when it gets hard. They won't sacrifice for you. And most of them don't even understand your vision. So why are you letting them hold the remote control to your life? The moment you stop caring about validation is the moment you become unstoppable. When your motivation comes from your own standards, your own expectations, your own code of excellence, no one can touch you. You'll keep moving when others quit. You'll keep growing when others plateau. You'll keep winning even when no one's watching, because your grind isn't performative. It's real. It's rooted in something deeper than applause. It's driven by your desire to become, not to be seen. And guess what? The most dangerous version of you is the one who no longer needs a pat on the back, the one who doesn't crumble when people criticize, the one who's too focused on building to worry about being validated. Because now you're playing a different game. You're not chasing attention, you're chasing mastery. You're not begging to be noticed, you're preparing to be remembered. That shift in mindset, that's everything. That's the line that separates those who try from those who do. So you want to win? Forget validation, forget likes, forget praise. Focus on discipline, building habits so strong they make talent irrelevant. Focus on drive, fueling your ambition so deep